Welcome to another episode of Communicate with Impact. The goal of this podcast is to get some amazing personalities from the corporate world and share their journeys in the corporate ladder, how exactly they have been doing so well that they climb the corporate ladder and they can communicate well. Today, my guest is Selvame Pazhany. Hi, Selvam. How are you doing?
Hi, Amit. Very good afternoon, and thank you for inviting for this wonderful show. That's the Communicate with Impact. I'm very glad to be part of this platform. Yeah, thank you, Amit.
Thank you, and the pleasure is mine, Selvam. Thank you for sharing your knowledge to the guests. Now, Selvam, if I may ask, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, as you told, my name is Selvame Pazhany, and I'm basically from the southern part of India, the small town called as Pondicherry. Presently, now I'm working for an RPG group of company in a position of general manager in Chennai. Basically, I'm a mechanical engineer. I got masters in mechanical engineer and a computer application. And I started my career as a simple engineer and gradually grown to this position in the last 27 years. And I moved out of my comfort zone from being in a hometown. And I moved to north and I moved to overseas for a short time. And I worked myself on improving my self development and on my professional as well. If you see, I worked on the domains like project management, manufacturing, due diligence, startups, then post acquisitions, and setting up a greenfield in India across the three geographies.
Wow.
Yes, the volume of the project is slightly big, where I have to handle close to 3,000 people and looking after the domains like civil, mechanical, electrical, IT, and licensing and the government statutory compliance. So in this perspective, that's what my short intro.
Everyone in the corporate world wants to understand, especially from a senior managerial role to the C levels, how do they handle their day? How do they plan their day? If you can share something on that.
Yeah, it's one of a very interesting one when you talk about the personal, because every individual start the day with energy. That's basically I also do. I'll go for a quick walk around my society, which I would normally take 20-30 minutes. Then I come up to a small warming up exercise. Then I can do a meditation. That's the very fundamental ritual I follow of myself. Of course, some people are the early morning, they get up and they do all this morning rituals, and some people will do on the evening. But I think this is one of the energy booster for me, which the morning freshness, connect with the nature, and go on see the new people around me. It's going to create an impact. Of course, I would really want to keep my gadgets bit away for at least for an hour. Yeah, that's a challenge which everyone is facing today, because every day morning when we get up, we go into the problem which we faced on the previous night or the early morning calls which is going to come. So that's the fundamental thing I want to do, and I'm doing for quite some time. And I want to keep me fit as my morning ritual, because that's what going to keep at this very energetic level. And I want to say one of the quote is the light kite fly high. So always I want to be very light and keep my brain on my idea also very light. In the morning. That's about my
Very
the morning
interesting.
ritual.
Very, very interesting about your morning rituals. Thanks, Selvam. That's a very interesting take on the morning rituals. And I like that kite, light, and flight analogy. Yeah, I really like it.
Light,
I mean,
light,
it's
light, fly higher.
okay. Sorry. So light, kite, and fly
Kite,
higher.
fly higher.
Yeah, of course. That's actually very nice because you're absolutely right that you're taking care of your physical aspect of the body early in the morning. I think you can handle the day well. What are your advices on handling this digital age, especially when it comes to communication or better communication?
Yeah, it's need of the hour, Amit, on this question. As you know, post-pandemic, everything has gone digital, and we use different media. It can be, of course, Zoom or the virtual connect on video is one. Second is we use audio and text. What I feel is people are too much of worried. They are complaining to me also. They say we are connected too much. So that means some people are getting hanging or they are on VC for longer hour. So they have to sit, irrespective of taking for the bio break, etc. There was a little bit of a concern from the employee level also, that how we can able to break this one. That's one. And second complaint or second crisis or the people used to bombard on us is there's too much of information people are throwing. And do you think that all the information which has been thrown or bombarded to us, we have been received? So we are not looking on a listening perspective because we are only on delivery, and we imagine that all whatever we are delivering, they are accepting it. And there are some problems like the digital distortions, the bandwidth issue will be there obviously. And are they focused? Because sometimes there could be some personal, as you said, some noise maybe there or somebody calling in house. The distortion of the focus also is getting distorted, and suddenly they have to catch up with that one after the personal one. So this is the biggest challenge the whole world is undergoing today. That's one of the reason even the IT companies slowly they're calling back the employees. Why don't you come back and to work in a physical environment? And in this condition, what's happening is since it's been almost 1 year, people are used to working home, but they are not happy. But now they are not very happy to come back to work in office also, which can be solved only by talking to them in person and understanding what is the real problem. Is that too much of information is flowing to them, or it's inadequate? It's because of interpretation, or it's because of distortion. So we need to understand these three factors. Obviously, we can able to sort out which quadrant they're lying in. That's my view about this, Amit.
Wow, wow. Let's dive into these a little more. Because I would love to pick your brain on a few more things. So you mentioned about the very interestingly that we always feel that digital communication and other aspects, but you clearly mentioned about are people listening? Because for delivery, right? For one person, you're just throwing away things on chat and so on and so forth, not understanding whether the other person has even read it, understood it, interpreted it, right? So that's a really really key challenge. Now, what are your thoughts? Like apart from, let's say there are people who are just not ready to come because of the luxury of time that they get, right? Because that's one of the aspects I can see that because you save a certain amount of time, and now people have used it in many different ways, right? They do it for family and stuff. And you also pointed out, so let's first understand that. What is it that you feel that how can we handle this situation to make others understand what we are trying to communicate via a digital medium?
Yeah, well, Amit, one perspective, what my insight is, we should focus on quality than quantum because we need not talk too much. If you are bombarding with too much of information, that can also make them, demoralized. Just give them a small quantity which they can able to pick it and they can able to reply and give us a feedback whether they have understood the things, whether they have been able to digest the things, whether they can able to review back and tell us that what was the understanding one. Second is we need to speak to them personally. Is that can we go for a meeting less time or what is a digital distraction less time? In some company I have seen Friday is no meeting day, so that they don't meet at all on the day. So that's being very free. Or else some company follow like or some organization follow that post half of Sunday will be a dead meeting time. So this kind of small initiatives which can be done as a test dose that can give an reply from the the employees whether they are happy with that one or that's going to improve the happiness of the morale of the employees and able to tell us the right way because we need to do a small experiment test it like a laboratory before concluding on this one. But this is what few companies are following this one, so we can adopt this also. Emotionally go and speak to them, understand that what is too much for them. One. Second is focus on quality than quantum. And third is can we have a dead time that this time there's no distractions or no meeting or no physical contact going to happen on that time. So that can be one of the my insights in this one.
No, that's interesting. So that's good. So now let me ask you one more question on this. The first point of those three when we started off, you mentioned that people are so stuck onto their systems that they sometimes don't get the adequate bio breaks in a way, right? Because meetings and things just keep happening and stuff. So what is your advice for someone who's working remotely every single day? How would you, like I am, for example, what would be your advice to me to handle my day so that I don't feel the pressure, or what is the things that we can change at an organization level and at an employee level so that we can handle this digital era?
Yeah. Well, Amit, this is one of the biggest challenge everyone is having. We need to speak to the the boss, or we need to speak about the job nature. If example, suppose we are working for some banking sector, or if you're working some service SOS, or what is happening is there will be people on call or people on the service job, which has to be end to end. So we need to have some what is an intermediate person coming and helping in this kind of time. Okay, I'll be taking a break maybe of 10:45 to 11 or 10:30 to 10:30. That 30 minutes, some of the people who are on the what you say substitute or we can say stepney should come in and help us and go. And their timing can be other one. what's going to happen is the organization have to hire a little bit of more employee for it, but that's worth doing it. This is the same problem when the manufacturing industry were adopting 5-day working. They had the similar problems. So what they did is they have to hire a little more of maybe 10% or 15% more employees to give the 6-day working to 5-day working, and these people will come and fill the gap on this kind of the break time, which is really required for mental and physical.
But do you have any tips or anything for people, doing 9 to 5 folks? How can they build confidence to talk to not only senior management, anybody, for the topic they know well?
Yeah, that's one of the important question I would say, because without confidence we are nothing. Okay, so in this one first thing, let us start from the self. Okay, the self confidence. I mean, the confidence will come from self and from the self belief. So why we cannot able to approach anybody? It can be your superiorly our colleagues, or it can be a 1-level boss or 2-level boss, or it can be a managing director of the company. Is the reason is we don't have a self belief. We always have questioning ourselves. Am I lagging in something? What is he will ask me some weird questions or some questions I don't know what I can do. That's the first fundamental mindset breakthrough we need to have. Nothing is going to happen. Our boss or whoever, they're not going to kill you. So just first relieve that the freedom. Go one step ahead and said, okay, it's a conversation happening with them. Let me go and speak. Okay. Then next is communication. As you know, you are also doing the same thing. Communication is very, very important, because there is different way of communication. I can say one is even speaking to your subordinate, speaking to your boss. It can be one-to-one call, it can be public speaking, it can be presentations, or it can be group discussions, and various things. You need to practice this. It's not going to come you on the day, and you are not born orator. And it's 100% you can able to acquire the skills. You acquire the skill of presentation and public speaking, and you have to go. Now you got a confidence. Now you know how to deliver the content what you have. Now you let us go to the content what you have. Are the content or the facts, is it completely an authentic one, or you are just bluffing it? So 100% now you're very confident because you got the skill to deliver it. My data is very clear. Now I'm going to confidently going to deliver it. Yes, sometimes the boss will accept, they'll not accept. There can be failure. Accept it and come back. I used to wonder on my days when I go and present something or speak to my boss, they'll say, "What are these lot of mistakes?" or "Why are you making this such a kind of blunders?" or many things will get offended. I used to say, "Why it's happening to me?" Then I thought, the more doer get more, the lesser get lesser. What does mean? It's not the book of gratitude. It's the more activities you do, the more you present, the more you go and speak openly. Of course, there can be small gaps will be there. You will get some scoldings, or you get something offended. That's okay, but you start doing it. That's practice. You have to start practicing it. Unless if you do it, if you confidently using your skills with the facts and figures, put your thought him, you will build a huge confidence on you. Maybe you can have 1 or 2 times hiccups, but you will have a complete breakthrough and you'll be sailing and soaring.
They don't know how to, if they want some additional resource or income and stuff like that, they want to know how they can present well. So do you have any recommendations when it comes to presentation to senior management or anyone for that matter?
Yeah. Yeah, Amit, I don't have a big recommendation, but I can share my stories because I have presented lots and lots of concepts or projects. Many of the projects, like it's like ball bouncing back, it comes back twice. I used to wonder what the mistake I'm doing. I'm good in communication, I've got confidence, everything is fine, but what is that missing? Then what is the thing is understood is there is different way of presenting the same content to different people. Example, let me take. If I'm presenting to my managing director, or if I'm presenting to my manager, or if I'm presenting to my colleagues, or the people who are not well aware about it. So let me go to my top management. They have got only 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or some 10 minutes time. So I have to keep my presentation contented or the time within this 15 minutes. So I have to allocate different time for explaining my problem, then conclusion. So I'll go a little bit of elaborate here. I need to initially visualize it that why I need to go do this presentation. What is an objective? Is that an information presentation? Is that a call to action? Is that an approval, or it's only an escalation? That's the first fundamental thing I'll keep on myself. Then I have to put all the facts and figures, which is relevant or which is authentic, not to my knowledge, data which I can tell of myself. It could be some of the company or corporate level data I'm going to project, which I'm going to first tell him that this is what the data is there. And third is I need to propose some action or based on some analysis, etc. And the fourth I'll explain with solutions, because the third is I did all analysis, and fourth is I'll explain solutions. And the last one will be I will ask for a conclusion, whether I need an approval or it's only information, it's only inclusions. So there is an objective behind it. Whether if it is a 5 minutes presentation, now I'm going for the manager of 30-minute presentation, or to my colleagues, which I'm going to give for 3 hours, I'll have this. My objective is start with an objective, 5 steps, and go for the conclusion that I will conclude with that one. I want an approval, or either there can be yes or no on approval can happen, or there can be an information, is that understood or not, or it can be a sort of escalation. He will say, I'm escalating to the next level. So we need to get a result orientation on our presentations. So whatever we have talked so far, it's going to be conclude on the presentations. So this is the fundamental things we need to follow. Nothing big secret in this one.
Wow. Actually, this is a big secret, for many, because people don't realize that informative, escalation, suggestion, and what action do you need, right? So you really broken down into very, very ABCs of presentation, I would say. You also a doctorate now, right? Could you share that a little bit with the folks here?
Yeah. So of late, what I'm doing is I want to share my experience and knowledge with the various people. So in this context, I started reaching various colleges, and so far I have reached around 2,500 students in 12 plus engineering colleges, there's nursing colleges. I want to, first of all, tell them that why there is a gap between academics and the industry. The skill, what are the various skill which has been, holding them to not to move to the next level. Yesterday, I was reading an article from Indian Institute of Technology in Chennai. Somebody was telling the salary band is more than a crore, but where I see many engineering colleges struggling for get a CTC of Indian currency of INR 3 lakh, 4 lakh. But what is difference between this student and that student? Fundamentally, the curriculum is same, but the skill is big gap. Then I started working on this skill building exercise, and I'm also writing a book called The Shark to Space, which will completely implicit on this skill gaps and entrepreneurial gaps. And on this perspective, I was reaching various students and colleges, and two international institutes recognized my service, and they given me honorary doctorate. And I thought it's not fair to write a name, Dr. Selvame. Then I have doing my own doctorate, and I'm enrolled for doing a PhD, do a research on, especially on entrepreneurial and engineering. This about my background and what I'm doing now, and I will be helping the millions of students and the entrepreneurs, and they can reach me. I will coach them and mentor them during my free time. That's about me, and I would like to recommend a couple of things for this kind of youngster is like they need to understand what is the gap. Unless they understand the gap, they cannot able to fill it. So please go through and understand what is your gap. You can do a lot of analysis today, SWOT analysis, or you can do psychometric chart analysis. These kind of things will tell you that what sort of skill is required for future, and you have to be future ready. So unless if you are future ready, it's very tough to cope up with the new skills emerging every day. That's about me.
In your last 3 decades, and you working with not only corporates, but you're also working with the future generations, right? You're helping the children, teens actually, to help them with the skill gap of what is required in the industry and what they're learning, right? So in doing so, and you also launching your own book, in doing all this, I'm sure you might have read books, podcasts, TV shows, or articles, and many other things, right? Would you like to recommend anything that some of my viewers can go ahead and read it or listen to it to help build their communication skills?
Yeah. Well, Amit, I read recently a lot of books, especially in the last couple of years. I finished around 30 plus books, but I will only recommend two books because that is very important. I feel okay. The first book is called as Atomic Habit, and
Yeah.
this book is written by James Clear. Okay. So, on second book is I'm recommending the Millionaire Fast Lane by MJ DeMarco. Okay. So let me tell why I'm recommending these two books. Okay. So we talk about a lot of new achievements, whatever you want to do. The basic fundamental thing required is an habit creations. Whatever we do, we want to learn, we want to implement, we want to practice, whatever. It starts with the tiny habits. And this man has put everything in his book that how you can make all the plan and adhere the plan by making say tiny habits. One. Second is when I want to travel from India to Melbourne, where you're staying now, how I can travel? I can travel by walking, I can travel by car, flight, rocket. Yeah, so we need a vehicle to reach fast. So this book is telling on which vehicle you can use to become whatever your dream millionaire or you want to achieve it. So this is what two things I want to connect. Have an habit and you create a tiny habits. You want to reach very fast choose the right media of travel, and that's the vehicle you want to go. That's about the two books I want to tell now.
Interesting,
Thank you.
interesting. So, thank you very much for the books.